the new best alternative to Stripe, Wise, and Payoneer that I think you're really going to like. So I made this little doc of just my experiences, right, when it comes to all these platforms. They all have their pros and cons, and every business is a bit different. But I've been through a lot of different issues with all of them, and the thing that I really like, I'm going to be sort of explaining. So Stripe has quite a few verification issues. I find they're really can be quite challenging with that. Bank transfers can take time, like days at a time. They do have instant payouts, but then that chews into your margins. No one wants that. The fees are going up because they are so large and everything. The fees are continually going up. And when it comes to disputes, like it's really annoying. You lose most of them, if I'm to be honest. And so I mainly have used Stripe sort of a bit for SaaS, as well as for ecom as well. But I'm more moving towards Airwallex. And the reason that I really like, and I'll get into that in a moment, but like with Wise, it especially is bad with verification issues, right? That's one of the things. So I literally had it where my account years ago got frozen because of some security vulnerability, and then all the money that was tied in there was frozen. So payroll, I had to be live chat. It was a really, and I just like, no, I need to move to a platform that if there's verification issues, I get that. That's one thing. But in terms of freezing your whole account, I just don't agree with that. I think there should be a grace period. I don't know if that's changed since, but that was really an off-putting. Also, on top of that, with Wise, they had, like in the US, they had you could have cards, and then all of a sudden, literally, it disappeared. Like I'm not even joking, and you go into, like, if you make like a US company Wise now, at least from what I see with mine, you still can't access Wise cards, like to use for both physical and virtual cards. Really a pain, and getting them sent to your home address. Whereas I've also found with Airwallex, you can send it to different addresses. It's a lot more flexible there, especially if you've got a team that's global. And these days, that's really important as well. So like that for me, I mainly use virtual cards. Like you use the physical card, and then you can use the physical card and put it on your like Google Pay. And also sort of with the virtual cards. But like I just find it with Airwallex, it's just I don't know what it is, but I think that because they're not an actual bank, they integrate with various banking related services to give you virtual banking transfers and so forth. I just find that Airwallex has a much better, it just seems that they have better relationships and better partners that they use for this, where you just don't get those issues. And I find that Wise with their bank reconciliations, it just doesn't work for me because I use Xero here in Australia and I just find it didn't work. And with Payoneer, I just don't like the interface. That's just me being a bit petty. I think the security is still weak, and I don't use it for payments now. I just wanted to add in there, Payoneer is good for freelancers, and it can be good for a number of things. But why I really like or Wise, right, is that simply it has payment processing, so you don't need Stripe. You can use Airwallex. And it has a lot more flexibility. You can use it for all your different payments. You can integrate it into Shopify, integrate it into a third-party checkout. It's got developer tools, so you can use it in various flexible ways. You can save on currency conversions, which I just think is so important. Like saving that 1% really adds up over the course of a year. It really, really does, especially as you're trying to grow your business. Every dollar counts. And I really love how you can use virtual and physical cards easily. So I can send cards to my office, or I can send it to specific locations. But most importantly, the digital cards or virtual cards are fantastic, right? I really, really like that. I've encountered on so many platforms, virtual cards have been really difficult you have to go through various processes. With Airwallex, I just found it was really straightforward, if I'm honest. And what I love is, you can control the limits, assign it to people, invite your whole team in there, control their permissions, make granular permissions based on whatever you want, which I find is really handy. I have like 5 people in mind, so like I just sort of control it with me being the owner, and you can make custom permissions, and then you can assign them a card, right? And what the cool thing is with the card, now with the problem with virtual cards may not integrate with Apple or Google Pay in certain countries, so you may encounter that. That's why at times you want to use the physical card. Using the physical card is really handy for that, where you can actually send it to them and that they can use it, at an FPOS device to pay for for flights, going to events, dinners, and so on and so forth. And what's really cool is it comes up as an expense. So then your team can just categorize what expenses is and then integrate it into your accounting software. Now, as I said, I use Xero personally. So I found that to be really, really good, like with the expenses. And the best part is, like, a lot of this is on the base plan is free. If you're transferring $5,000 a month into it, so like your business being 5,000, you don't have to pay a cent on the lowest plan. Otherwise, you pay 29 bucks a month. And then it does have the higher plans for other features, but I'll be honest, I haven't used them all that much per se, hugely. A lot of those other core features, but I'm planning to as I build more and more of these brands anyway. And what I like is that transfers are really fast, international and domestic. I'm from Australia. If I'm using like Australia, I can use what's called BPay. And it's like, and you can use, I've forgotten what it's called, like Osco. And so like, it's nearly instantaneous, right? Like here in Australia, but even international, it's like within a day, and it's really fast. And you can, if someone's asking for it, you can just send them a PDF of the transaction in transfer. Really, really simple. And what I like is it's got good security measures in place. So I just think that's really important as well, where, you can have a workflow where anything under $500 can be automatically approved by other people that may not have normal permissions. Over that, it needs to be approved by a manager higher up and so on and so forth. So as you scale your business and you get more people in there and you want to have complex workflows for approval processes, I find that is extremely useful for security measures. I have anything under $1,000. My finance team can just approve and send it themselves without me having to review it and so on and so forth. I just deem those as things that I don't need to be specifically involved in. Anything over that, I like to double check just to make sure, right? So I find that really, really handy. It's got over 160 countries, and I'm sure that they'll continue to find faster and better ways. They're constantly releasing new updates. Every time you log into Airwallex, I'm always finding these new updates. Now, look, I've made a sandbox account. Now, to make a sandbox account in Airwallex, you just go to login and you can choose sandbox and make an account. And I've just sort of made one and just called it Debutify Inc. I wish I had that much amount of money in there, but obviously I don't. But you can see here, like, it's got a nice simple dashboard. Which I find really, really handy. What I use a lot is I use the wallet. You've got the global conversions, global accounts, pardon me. And so here you can add in all of this. You can receive funds through Airwallex Pay. So that's what I mean by they've got their own payment processor and you can discover it as well. You can create global accounts, which is really easy. So, like, boom, there you go. Domestic transfer, 1 day, I don't know what that stands for, but every country is obviously a bit different. And boom, you give it a name. You can always rename it later down the line. And there you go. I'm now set up with a digital bank account where I could use it for that country. And you can see you got all the bank details, which I just find really handy. So many of them, they don't have this little copy thing. And I even love how they have it as copy as a message, show all details, and you can see very deep specifics as well, right? So they're very big on doing a lot of that stuff. And then obviously you go back and you can see that all of them here, and you'll see, is it active? Is it inactive? Do you want it to be active? You can see all transactions. I just find it really, really handy for scalability. Conversions, you can see all conversions that you've done as well and how much that might have cost, so like conversion created, funded, process. So you get like full transparency. And in this day and age where you're running businesses on a global scale with teams all around the world, you can, having these level of control is really important. And then you want to have rate alerts. You can use that as well, so you can stay on top of it. Again, with transfers, I actually use this. You can see here, like, look at that. They just account names, transfers now be checked in real time. Fantastic. That's where you get the updates, right? I really love that. So I actually, you can use this to pay people, and you can see, this is what I mean by, like, you can see everything. I just think it's really handy. You can see details, payer, recipient. You can download that, as I said before. You can see the transactions. You can see the timeline and even the approvals. So just everything in case there ever is anything that needs to be double checked. Really, really handy, right? So if we go to, pardon me, I'll leave out that. And obviously, as well as you build this up, save your contacts as you do transfers and everything. Save your contacts so that if you're doing payroll, if you're doing payments to suppliers and so forth as well, That'd be great. One of the things that I would love Airwallex to have would be, and I just don't know if this is feasible, is reward points for that you use, right? You can use other services for reward points, but man, I would love it if I could use, because I use credit cards so that I can get reward points for a number of things as well. But if I could use this and get similar points that I could redeem, would be absolutely epic, right? And then, as I said, you can use expenses to track, manage, and automate your team's expenses. Simple as that. Like this is, as I said, just a test account. What's cool is, as I said, these are physical cards, these are digital cards. I focus on the digital card. I'm not even joking. As of today's recording this morning, one of my login accounts got compromised, subscriptions that I use, and strong security and everything, two-factor, Google authentication. Somehow these people are able to still bypass it. But what I did, and what a lot of one of the things I think is really important, is you can with the digital cards make as many as you want, and make a digital card per subscription platform, right? If you have a physical card and the physical card, something gets compromised, you have to get rid of the whole physical card. All your subscriptions are then you have to scurry and find solutions. Whereas with this, freeze it, away you go. In my case, what I do is I froze it, I've deleted it, but I also made it so it had a monthly limit based on the subscription. So I think it was $20. And so I said it was $20. Otherwise, with the hacking, I would have already lost $3,000. I would have had to go through disputes and everything to claw that money back. But as a result of that, I just, away we go. And I decided to move away from that service because anything that doesn't have strong. So it's really important as well. A lot of these great services, online subscriptions, do get compromised. And using a digital card like this is just such a simple way where you can easily manage the card, edit the card. I use this all the time. You put your limit, weekly, monthly, daily, whatever, and you can add an additional limit. You can what type of purpose it is, who is for, so you can give it to your team and stuff as well for different purposes. Really handy, and literally takes like 2 seconds. You can also put an end date as well, like so if it's for like an event and you want additional security. I haven't used that, I'll be honest, all that much, but just handy little things that just allow you to do that, whereas physical card is fantastic, but a lot limited. So I just sort of wanted to add that in as well. And you can see all the, expenses, and again, freeze the card, replace the card. So if you want to replace it, you'll have to get another one sent. It might take, actually comes in a really nice, they've got some really nice branding there. It sends you out a nice, they use Visa box that comes with it to activate it. You just log in and reactivate it. It's pretty straightforward. But I really, really like it, And so for me, running an online business and multiple of them, having that level of control and certainty and security is one of the things that I really, really like, that I find that the others just don't have, and the advanced controls that I think that that it has. So you also got card holders, so you can have your verified card holders as well and see what cards they have that have been assigned to them as you build out your team as well. And you can have your settings as well, so what your primary currency is, and automatic conversions if you want that or not. And you can then edit, what your business name and stuff is too. So just really good controls. I found like with Wise, it was very limited to what you could do. And obviously Stripe don't, issue cards. They issue, integration to do these types of things. But, and then you got, as I said, your payments, you got your payments by Airwallex. But it's compared to Stripe, it is a lot more simplified. But really, that's all you really need. Like, if you're running a SaaS business, especially, you don't need all these complex things as well. You got risk, you got disputes, you got settlements. And because if you use Airwallex, it's like literally within the same hour, you get the money in your bank account. So just really nicely integrated. I think that is fantastic. And no doubt they plan to keep pushing that further as they go down this path, because obviously they want to take on other payment processes as well as they go down this path. One of the things that I've started using as well, which I found really handy, is the rewards portal, right? So, using these rewards portal, like if you're using Slack, 25% off the first 12 months. And what's cool is if you copy this as a little tip, as an incognito, you can keep that link and you can keep using it anyway, because I just keep using it. But I'm not sure if I should technically say that, but like, look at that, you're 90% off Xero. As I said, I use that for accounting. There's plenty out there, right? Of course, as well. Pay.com.au is a cool one too. where you can earn points as well on your credit card and stuff as well. But if Airwallex, anyone was watching, please, I would love you guys to have it because I really love that personally. And you got all these partners, and I'm sure they're going to continue to have it. Like I use ShipBob, so I use $300 of free credit. Why wouldn't I, right? You get 150 free shipments. You got your rewards platforms. You got buy now, pay later platforms. This is another good one as well for funding. Shame they don't have like Clearco in that as well. But anyway, have a look at all of these and see what fits your business. I just find it really handy. I don't know why some of it just sort of repeats indefinitely, but yeah, anyway, you got a developer portal. Now, I haven't used that all that deeply, right? You have a developer, you import, get them and get API and webhook. They look at all of this, but it's got all of that to use for various things. And as I said, security, I'm very big on security. So making sure that you have logging in and creating a transfer. I just do that. It is non-questionable. And then statements, right? So, bank statements. The problem with the Airwallex that you'll find is, like, let's say you're wanting to get a loan, like from a bank in your country that you might want to get a larger loan or various funding. Airwallex is, while it's a big company and an amazing company, it's not one of the sort of, they don't have that default integration. You ever use those tools where you can just integrate your bank accounts, like here in Australia, like NAB, Commonwealth Bank, for example? Airwallex isn't listed as one of them. Not to say, obviously, you can't, but I don't know what the exact process is. But so you'll have to get manual bank statements, right? Just to provide them that as proof, and you can use these as proof for full transparency, right? So because I've encountered that many times. So that's why you use the bank statements as well. Especially if you're trying to get various lending, you'll always be asked for bank statements, various verification purposes. Like I use Clearco, for example, for funding. I find that to be really handy. I just upload that every month. Another thing I would love Airwallex to have, because it is a massive growing company, is based on the revenue you have in there, funding as well. So like if it had reward points that I could use on the cards, as well as various funding based on the revenue you get, would be absolutely epic. But the one thing, it technically sort of does have funding, and I didn't really speak about that before, is the yield, right? So I use yield. Now, I don't know if that's accurate. On one of my accounts where I'm actually using it, where I've generated thousands of dollars already, Airwallex yield basically allows you to, like, I'm just going to do a test. Yeah. I don't know if this will just approve me, but you do have to go through a formal process. So I guess I can't fully show you the exact thing in this sandbox. But my point is that it takes about a day or two to transfer across once you do. And you can see here, you got all your wallet of your bank accounts, and you can send NZ, generate an account statement, generate balance activity report. Really easy, right? Honestly. As you want to stay on top of that as well. The reason that you might want to do that is, like, if you're got different companies in different countries or different setups, you don't want, what you can do then is, it's cheaper than paying the transfer fee from these other platforms to send it to Airwallex in that country's currency, and then doing the transfer in the currency conversion in Airwallex. It's significantly cheaper because it's designed for that. A lot of these other platforms, it's a lot more expensive. So please keep that in mind. That's one of the things that I find really handy. It just gives a lot of flexibility to save you some money, get the same result, and do it really, really fast, which I find really handy. But with the yield as well, you put the money in there. It takes, I think, 3 to 4 business days for it to work. I can't remember the company. I think they use Goldman Sachs as their partner. Where basically you put the money in there, and I believe, from what I understand, that money in there is then a pooled amount of money that then Goldman Sachs and all of that can then use for investing in the various types of investments that they do. And you as the user have the money there. It's like having a term deposit without having the length requirement of it, that you can withdraw at any stage. And literally, I think it was like less than a month ago that they've now updated it where you can do instant transfers. It costs you a small percentage. So if you're in need of some desperate cash for an unexpected thing, then you can transfer it out, right? As a note, I personally always recommend that you make sure you have a good buffer in your balance so that your yield doesn't get touched, and you can just earn passive money on your yield. Like I think for me, I earn thousands of dollars a month just from this by having it in there. And as my business grow, I just keep transferring more in there, and I earn more, right? Um, I just personally prefer that. That's just my personal thing, and so I just want to sort of add that in as well. As I said, like with billing, you can see here as well. You can see these simple things for billing subscriptions. So you got your payments, which, as I said, like for e-commerce and that, and you got your billing. Pardon me. You can see your subscriptions, make them, and then you got your billing settings as well. So it's pretty straightforward. You have to go through it, and then as I said, you got your bills, so you can use various bills, automate your bill process in one platform, right? So you can reconcile. As I said, you can see it's got Xero, NetSuite, and QuickBooks. Pay international bills. So it's basically for transfers, bills, and stuff. It's really really handy. You got requests. Okay, control your employee spend with requests. Manage your spend requests in one place, right? So allow employees to request spend for business purchases like software, la 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 la. And as I said, issue cards and purchase orders, track, approve, request approvals. It's just really, really cool, for it's sort of like a bit of a HR type situation there as well. And as I said, you got your reports so that you can use, your account statement and so on and so forth as well. And then expenses coming in as well, where you can full visibility of your expenses in again a single platform. And so that's pretty much Airwallex in a nutshell. So control expenses, you have your cards, you can manage subscriptions, you can integrate with like Shopify, you can integrate with third-party checkouts. And as I said, one of the things that I like the most about it is the verification, right? If you have any issues, they give you plenty of time. See how you have to verify your authority, verify your email. They work with you really, really, really well. And you always have good grace time. Their support is really good, right? Usually within a business day, you get a response. They have good help articles. These things to me really make a lot of key difference. As I said, I do have some things that I wish that, for instance, with transfers, that you can download a statement, but you could also see that the transaction process, like as a tracking link that you could send to people as a shareable tracking link, not just a PDF. I wish you could get reward points on your cards. And I wish it would, like, hopefully over time as things like pass keys as well. I like 2FA. You can use SMS backup codes and one-time passwords, but I prefer passkeys because I use tools like Bitwarden. I can save it in there. It's fantastic. I wish it had a few of those things, which I'm sure are things that are coming in the future. Regardless, no such platform is perfect. But then the other thing as well, and that is you can add multiple organizations and you can nest them under one organization so you can see an overview if you have multiple companies. For someone like me that runs quite a number of brands and building a number of brands, that's really, really handy. You do have to obviously every one customize, go through the verification that's expected, right? But as a result, under one account, you can manage multiple different companies, right? And be all separated, control the user access, control the permissions, control the everything, and it all just goes to the one place, right? So you're not having to use multiple accounts. It's just very handy. It's very easy. Different countries you may not be eligible for. I don't know. I actually find in Quebec, in Canada, you can't. You look at it, but most are supported, right? You won't. Most of us won't have that issue, but that's just something to sort of keep in mind there. But other than that, I just sort of wanted to really talk about this. I just think it's really important for e-commerce as well as SaaS brands, and I just think that it's a company that's growing. I think I saw they just raised another $200 million. I think it was. They're valued at $6 billion. And I think the founder I read up on run a coffee business and then wanted to get into it because of the currency conversion fees, and then has built this gigantic company. And so congratulations to them. They're actually partnered with one of the clubs that I'm in. It's called Club of United Business. That's just a fantastic company, and I think they're just going to continue to grow. The other players are established in their space, but I think where I think Airwallex is going is they're really focused on a lot of HR. They're very focused on their currency conversions to a lot of different countries. I think that they are by far the fastest, and I think they're going to go a lot more into various services that will help with managing contractors around the world as well for policies, legalities, compliance, and stuff there too. So I think that you're going to find that in the coming years, especially with this new round of funding, they're going to be going a lot harder on marketing, as well as they're going to be going a lot harder on adding a lot of functionality. They know they're sitting on a lot of money here, and that it is a very well developed and very well designed platform that I think that you'll find it really, really good. As I said, I just personally use it for sort of everything. I don't use, for most part, any traditional bank stuff. I use this as my virtual banking. Remember, it is not a bank, right? So just understand that they must, I don't know how that works, but with their partners, that they get some license agreement to be able to then use that in those said countries, but they aren't a specific bank in that. So you will, like all of these, right? You will encounter very specific things in certain countries where this is on the cutting edge, right? So, whether you're using any of these services, including like Wise and that, you will always encounter this. But 99% of the time, as long as you provide proof, like using like reports and that, you'll, companies will, oh yeah, no worries, cool. It's just not in their normal directory, right? So I just wanted to sort of make a video on that. I hope this video has been helpful. If it has, be sure to like, share, subscribe. Otherwise, thank you for your time. Have a lovely day. Take care and goodbye.